Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Lecha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Judges, the 9th chapter. Now, as we left off in the 8th chapter, we saw the deliverance of Israel by Gideon, right, and the armies that were with him, as the Lord delivered the Midianites into his hand. And so at the end we see, the death of Gideon, and so now leading into Judges, the 9th chapter. Now this is Judges chapter 9, verse 1. And Abimelech, the son of Jerubbaal, went to Shechem unto his mother's brethren. Right. And Abimelech, the son of Jerubbaal, went to Shechem unto his mother's brethren, and communed with them, and with all the family of the house of his mother's father. Now remember in the previous chapter that Abimelech was the son of Gideon by Gideon's concubine, who was from Shechem. So he goes basically to his mother's, side of the family, and it says here that he basically goes to talk with them, and he says, "I pray you, speak, I pray you, in the ears of all the men of Shechem, whether is better for you, either that all the sons of Jerubbaal, which are 70 persons, that's 70 people, reign over you, or that one reign over you." So which is better? That 70 people reign over you, or that one reign over you? Remember also that I am your bone and your flesh. So also remember that I'm your kinsman, your kinsfolk, right? I'm also from Shechem. My mom was from here. And his mother's brethren spake of him in the ears of all the men of Shechem all these words. So basically he was trying to get into their ears to get him to work in his favor, right? And allow him to gain that upper hand in having them appoint him as the ruler. Verse 3, continuing on, it says, "And their hearts inclined to follow Abimelech, for they said, he is our brother." So they basically said, all right, he is one of us, so shit, it's better him than the rest of Gideon's sons. "And they gave him 70 pieces of silver out of the house of Baal Berith, wherewith Abimelech hired vain and light persons, which followed him." So with the money they gave him, he went and hired, like, basically, anybody that would do the job, right? As it says, he called them vain. So these weren't people of integrity or anything of that sort. "And he went on to his father's house at Ophrah, and slew his brethren, the sons of Jerubbaal, being 70 persons. So the rest of his brothers, about 70, he basically slew them upon one stone. Notwithstanding, yet Jotham, the youngest son of Jerubbaal, was left, for he hid himself. So Jotham managed to escape by hiding. And all the men of Shechem gathered together, and all the house of Milo, and went and made Abimelech king by the plain of the pillar that was in Shechem. And when they told it to Jotham, he went and stood in the top of Mount Gerizim, and lifted up his voice, and cried, and said unto them, Hearken unto me, ye men of Shechem, that God may hearken unto you. So you want God to hear you, well, hear what I have to say. The trees went forth on a time to anoint a king over them. And they said unto the olive tree, Reign thou over us. But the olive tree said unto them, Should I leave my fatness, wherewith by me they honor God and man, and go to be promoted over the trees? So the olive tree said, My glory is in making, olives and olive oil and so on, by which, men honor the Lord and man, right? God for creating the tree and man for cultivating it. Should I leave off that glory just to be what? Over the rest of these trees? And the trees said to the fig tree, come thou and reign over us. So when the olive tree said no, they went to the fig tree, and they said, you come and reign over us. But the fig tree said unto them, should I forsake my sweetness and my good fruit, and go to be promoted over the trees? Then said the trees unto the vine, come thou and reign over us. And the vine said unto them, should I leave my vine, which cheereth God and man, and go to be promoted over the trees? And they said, then said all the trees unto the bramble, come thou and reign over us. And the bramble here is like a thorn bush, right? Pretty much worthless. Now, this sort of analogy that Jotham is giving, the trees here represented, in this case, the men of Shechem, and the bramble would be Abimelech, right? As he goes on further to explain. Verse 15, and the bramble said unto the trees, if in truth ye anoint me king over you, then come and put your trust in my shadow. So basically, come under me and serve me. And if not, let fire come out of the bramble and devour the cedars of Lebanon. So if you refuse to serve me, then let fire come down and devour you. Now therefore, if ye have done truly and sincere, this is Jotham speaking, in that ye have made Abimelech king, and if ye have dealt well with Jerubbaal and his house, and have done unto him according to the deserving of his hands. So if indeed, you have dealt sincerely, right, in making Abimelech king, and if you have dealt righteously in towards Jerubbaal, which is Gideon, for all the things that he has done for you, and you have treated him as he deserves, for my father fought for you, and adventured his life far, meaning he risked his life, and delivered you out of the hand of Midian. And ye have risen up against my father's house this day, and have slain his sons 70 persons, upon one stone, and have made Abimelech the son of his maidservant, i.e. his concubine, king over the men of Shechem, because he is your brother. So if indeed ye have then dealt truly and sincerely with Jerubbaal and with his house this day, then rejoice ye in Abimelech, and let him also rejoice in you. So he basically cut him, right, and saying, like, look at the things that you've done, right? Gideon, risked his life and fought and delivered you from the hand of the Midianites, and you went by the hand of one of his sons, by his handmaid, to slay the rest of his house, right, and set up Abimelech as king over you. If truly you have dealt righteous, and you've treated Gideon and his house as they should have, or as they deserved, then cool. Let Abimelech reign over you, and rejoice, right, and let it be a good reign. But if not, let fire come out from Abimelech, and devour the men of Shechem, and the house of Milo. And let fire come out from the men of Shechem, and from the house of Milo, and devour Abimelech. And this means this was a curse that Jotham put on them, and it was like, let them destroy each other, right? Let the men of Shechem and Milo be destroyed of Abimelech, and let the men of Shechem and Milo destroy Abimelech. And Jotham ran away, and fled, and went to Beer, and dwelt there for fear of Abimelech his brother. When Abimelech had reigned 3 years over Israel, then God sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the men of Shechem. And the men of Shechem dealt treacherously with Abimelech. So the Lord basically put a separation between them, to where they started to plot against Abimelech. that the cruelty done to the 60 sons of Jerubbaal might come, and their blood be upon Abimelech their brother. So the Lord was doing this to avenge that blood, or recompense it upon Abimelech's head, which slew them, and upon the men of Shechem, which aided him in the killing of his brethren. And the men of Shechem set liers in wait for him in the top of the mountains. This was for Abimelech. They basically set an ambush for him. And they robbed all that came along that way by them. And it was told Abimelech. So they set liars in wait who were just in there and basically robbing anybody that came by. And then eventually word got to Abimelech. And Gaal, the son of Ebed, came with his brethren and went over to Shechem. And the men of Shechem put their confidence in him. So they basically were like, yo, you know what? We're going to follow this guy. And they went out into the fields and gathered their vineyards and trode the grapes. So this was during the harvest time. They trode the grapes, meaning to trample and step on them. That's how you get the wine. And made merry and went into the house of their God and did eat and drink and cursed Abimelech. So they were following after Gaal, and basically talking all kinds of smack against Abimelech. And Gaal, the son of Ebed, said, now at this point they're probably drunk, who is Abimelech, and who is Shechem, that we should serve him? Is not his son, is not he the son of Jerubbaal, and Zebul his officer? Serve the men of Hamor, the father of Shechem, for why should we serve him? So, he's just Gideon's son, and this Zebul over here is his officer. Who the hell is he? So, you serve the true Shechemites, right, of Hamor. For why should we follow this guy? Once again, this being the Lord's doing. And would to God this people were under my hand, then would I remove Abimelech. And he said to Abimelech, increase thine hand and come out. Now at this point, he said this against Abimelech, but it wasn't to Abimelech's face. And when Zebul, the ruler of the city, heard the words of Gaal, the son of Ebed, his anger was kindled. He got real pissed. And he sent messengers unto Abimelech privately, saying, behold, the Gaal, the son of Ebed, and his brethren be come to Shechem. And behold, they fortified the city against thee. So this guy Gaal's over here, and he's basically turning everybody against you. Almost like turning this place into a stronghold against you. Now therefore up by night, thou and the people that is with thee, and lie in wait in the field. So grab your men and come and basically set an ambush here in the field this night. And it shall be that in the morning, as soon as the sun is up, thou shalt rise early and set upon the city. And behold, when he and the people that is with him come out against thee, then mayest thou do to them as thou shalt find occasion. So basically come and attack, right? And they're going to come out and fight against you. And then at that point, you do whatever you want to do to them. And Abimelech rose up and all the people that were with him by night. And they laid wait against Shechem in 4 companies. So he broke up his men into 4 groups. And Gaal, the son of Ebed, went out and stood in the entering of the gate of the city. And Abimelech rose up, and the people that were with him, from lying in wait, likely being the next morning. And when Gaal saw the people, he said to Zebul, behold, there come people down from the top of the mountains. And Zebul said unto him, oh, no. Thou seest the shadows of the mountains as if they were men. No, that's just the shadows. Your eyes are deceiving you. Those are not no men. And Gaal spake again and said, so now as they're getting closer, he's like, nah, hold up. Gaal spake again and said, see, there come people down by the middle of the land. And another company cometh along by the plain of Meonanim. Then said Zebul unto him, Where is now thy mouth, wherewith thou saidst, Who is Abimelech, that we should serve him? Is not this the people that thou hast despised? So he basically said, what happened to all that shit you were talking? You know, just last night you was all high and mighty, right? Talking about who's Abimelech and, we ain't going to serve him. Well, that's them right there. So why don't you go out there and back up those words? Go out, I pray now, and fight with them. And Gaal went out before the men of Shechem and fought with Abimelech. And Abimelech chased him, and he fled before him, and many were overthrown and wounded, even unto the entering of the gate. And thus began the curse of Jotham to take effect on him. So now the men of Shechem were fighting against Abimelech, being led by Gaal. Abimelech starts to smite them. They're losing the battle. Verse 41, And Abimelech dwelt at Arumah, and Zebul thrust out Gaal and his brethren, that they should not dwell in Shechem. So he basically kicked them out. Kicked them out of there. And it came to pass on the morrow that the people went out into the field, and they told Abimelech. And he took the people and divided them into 3 companies, and laid wait in the field. So when the men of Shechem went out, Abimelech was informed, and he set an ambush in the field. And looked, and behold, the people were come forth out of the city, and he rose up against them and smote them. And Abimelech and the company that was with him rushed forward, and stood in the entering of the gate of the city. And the 2 other companies ran upon all the people that were in the fields and slew them. So they basically blocked their entrance to run back into the city, and then the other groups of Abimelech attacked them while they were in the field. And Abimelech fought against the city all that day, and he took the city, and slew the people that was therein, and beat down the city, and sowed it with salt. And when all the men of the tower of Shechem heard that, they entered into an hold of the house of the god of Berith. So one of their idols, they went into one of the temples over there to basically lock themselves in there. And it was told Abimelech that all the men of the tower of Shechem were gathered together. And Abimelech gat him up to Mount Zalmon, he and all the people that were with him. And Abimelech took an axe in his hand, and cut down a bow from the trees, being a branch, and took it, and laid it on his shoulder, and said unto the people that were with him, What ye have seen me do, do. Or what ye have seen me do, make haste, and do as I have done. So just like I cut down a branch, every one of you go cut down a branch. And all the people likewise cut down every man his bow, and followed Abimelech, and put them to the hold, and set the hold on fire upon them. So they used the branches as wood for the fire, to set that temple or stronghold on fire, to burn the people in it. So that all the men of the tower of Shechem died also, about 1,000 men and women. It's interesting how Jotham mentioned that, right? Let fire come out and devour them. And then the means by which Abimelech slays them is by setting them on fire in that tower. Then went Abimelech to Thebes, Thebez, and encamped against. Let me see how it's actually pronounced here. Pronunciation. Yeah, okay, so Thebes. There you go. That's all right. That's all right. Against Thebes, and took it. But there was a stronghold within the city, and thither fled all the men and women. So after he went there, he basically, took it over. All the men and women ran and hid inside of the stronghold in there. In all the city, and shut it to them, and got them up to the top of the tower. And Abimelech came on to the tower, and fought against it, and went hard onto the door of the tower to burn it with fire. So he tried to break through the doors, to get axes in there. And then he decided, you know what, we're just going to burn it. And a certain woman cast a piece of a millstone upon Abimelech's head, and all to break his skull. Now, a piece of a millstone is not small and it's not light, right? Those millstones were some heavy stones, right? Let's look this up here. A millstone. Let's look up ancient Israel. Yeah, so you can see the material that they made of. This is heavy stuff right here. But obviously, I don't think this woman was like lifting these big ass ones. There's smaller. There we go. This is like a smaller example of a millstone here. But these stones were not light. And on top of that, and they were not light, but that was okay because the women weren't necessarily lifting them, right? They were grinding them, so they were turning it. And also, given the height of the tower, right, the force of gravity pulling it down, that would have done some major damage. In any case, wham, that joint landed on his head, and he knew from that point, yeah, it's over. He started seeing, you know, one man turn into three, back into one, back into two. He said, yeah, I'm done. Then he called hastily unto the young man, his armor bearer, and said unto him, draw thy sword and slay me. So while he still had breath in him, his last request was, you come and kill me, that men say not of me, a woman slew him. And his young man thrust him through, and he died. So because once again, it would be an embarrassing or disgraceful thing to go out that way, right? That he was slain by a woman. They're like, oh shit. And when the men of Israel saw that Abimelech was dead, they departed every man onto his place. Now I believe that this account was mentioned in the fast forward to the time of King David. I believe this was during the time of Joab that one of the ladies made reference to this. Let me see here. No, not this one. Yeah, the millstone upon the head. Yeah, here we go. 2 Samuel 11 and 21. And I think this was when they were going after, who was it? Let me see. Let's go up a bit. All right, let's go up. Let's see. This is, let me just get some context. Then Joab sent and told David all the things concerning the war, and charged the messengers, saying, when thou hast made an end of telling the matters of the war unto the king. There we go. So it was David. Yeah, it was David that, his response being when the men, Joab instructed the men to go to draw close to the walls of the Ammonites. David was saying, like, you know, that's a dumb thing to do. You know, like, did you forget that how dangerous that is? That, you know, they can easily target you from their walls. And then he made reference here to this example in 11 and 21, who smote Abimelech, the son of Jerubasheth, which is Jerubbaal, which is Gideon. Did not a woman cast a piece of a millstone upon him from the wall that he died in Thebes? Why went ye nigh the wall? So this is what Joab was saying. If you tell David this and he replies with this answer, because he'll be upset, he'll say, like, why did you pull such a stupid move to kill our men? Then you tell him that Uriah is also dead. And that would basically give David the message that, oh, so this was purposely done to take out Uriah. But yeah, just wanted to, I knew I had seen that somewhere else. Anyway, back to Judges chapter 9, verse 56. Thus God rendered the wickedness of Abimelech, which he did unto his father, in slaying his 70 brethren. And all the evil of the men of Shechem did God render upon their heads, and upon them came the curse of Jotham, the son of Jerubbaal. And that brings us to the end of the book of Judges, the 9th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Brachah Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.